Let's talk about the data, starting with set-top box data. You say you have 30 million
Yeah,
set-top box homes?
It's about 17 million boxes themselves. It's about 30 million people.
Okay. Oh, I see. And so where are you getting the data from?
We get it from a variety of sources: cable, satellite, and telecom providers.
Do you data match or data fuse with these other data sources such as Nielsen? How does that work?
Well, all the set-top box data that we bring in is anonymous. We do fuse with these other sources. So we use a variety of statistical techniques to combine the data together. In some cases, it's simple as looking at exact time, so the time that a commercial ran and the time that a particular box was viewing a certain network. In other cases, there are more advanced techniques that we use to put the data together. It really depends on the data source.
And in the case of set-top box data, have you developed your own metrics? Have you developed your own edit rules and algorithms, or are you partnering with somebody else?
Yeah, in the case of Nielsen, well, Nielsen is the currency of television, and we're not a currency, so we stick with the standard metrics that standard metrics are used for buying and selling television. There are additional metrics that we can see, or additional activities that we can see that are of interest to certain clients. So some of our clients are TV networks promoting their own shows. We can see if a particular audience tuned in or saw a promo for a new show and then ultimately tuned into that show. And this is really the first time that that's been available at a large scale.
So in terms of developing edit rules and algorithms, are you developing your own, or how are you handling capping and latency and those set-top box data issues?
Yeah, well, and as you know, set-top boxes weren't really designed for this purpose. So, unlike the internet, when we brought all of these set-top boxes together, you're right, there are rules that need to be applied to that. So, how do we determine whether someone is in front of television or the TV is just on a particular network? We try and use industry standard measurements and rules where they're available. Where they're not, we talk to other folks in the industry to determine are there best practices if there isn't a set rule, and where there is none of that, we develop our own and we test it and retest to determine is it accurate or is it not, and we talk to our clients about those rules as we go along. There are definitely algorithms that we've developed internally that help us predict how certain audiences are going to tune into television, because we're selling TV advertising. If we go out to a client and sell them a schedule that is a particular number of impressions, we have to be sure that we're going to deliver that. So we have developed a lot of internal algorithms around that. But the more standards that are around cap and edit rules, the better for us, because we would like to, we want everyone to be able to understand the power of set-top box data, and we believe that would go a long way in helping further that.
So Jack, you spoke about where there are no best practices, that you've established your own metrics and edit rules and algorithms and tested them for accuracy. Against what?
Well, a variety of sources. One of the things that we did, and we've actually done this a number of times, is we take the most reliable part of Nielsen, which is prime time, and we just measure our set-top box sample and see how it lines up. And we've used a few methods for that. We recently did an Advertising Research Foundation webinar, talked about a couple of the techniques that we use to do that. Our goal is first to make sure that the quality of the data is good, and then understand if there are biases in that data, where are they, and how do we account for them. So we use, we like to use the currency because Nielsen is the currency of television. Secondary to that, there are other ways that we do it. So we look at census data, and we look at not just the basic U.S. census. There are some business censuses that are done by the U.S. government. We look at those as well. And we also break our large sample into smaller samples and test them against each other. So we use a variety of techniques, really depending on the problem that we're trying to solve for a particular client, or just in general how we're doing quality control and how we automate that quality control.
Can you give us a 2-minute recap about that ARF webinar?
Yeah, 2 minutes is pretty short, but I'll give it my best shot. So one of the things that we discovered in going out and talking to people at agencies and at clients in TV advertising is, we always talk about what we do today, but we like to think about what's possible and what are things that are happening in data management and in IT and technology that can affect television advertising and our understanding of television advertising. So this webinar really was about some of the lessons that we've learned over the last 2 years in analyzing set-top box data and analyzing our data set. Some of the things that we've seen include quantifying the fact that there are actually light viewers out there, and finding where those light viewers are is important, because the biggest finding we've seen over the last couple of years is that TV viewing continues to fragment, and as consumers go to smaller, lower rated networks and smaller or less well measured day parts, as well as new devices like iPads and online, that has an effect on TV ad campaigns. So we tried to quantify that and look at the effects that that's having on television advertising campaigns. And we saw that there is, because of this fragmentation, there's a reach problem. Reach is actually declining for major advertisers. So if you're an advertiser who's reaching 60 to 80% of consumers on television, a lot of that spend is being concentrated on heavy viewers. And that's really no fault of agencies or the marketers themselves. It's really that the techniques to understand these audiences hasn't really developed over the last several years. And the biggest reason is that a lot of the data that we use hasn't even been available to put against this problem until the last probably 5 or 6 years. If you combine that with new techniques in data management from companies like Facebook, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, Foursquare, that combination really allows a different view of how TV is being consumed, and now allows the ability to quantify where those audiences go at a much greater level of granularity than we've been able to do before.